Good evening. A semi-detached home was surrounded by yellow crime tape as police pieced together what happened.
The identities of both the suspect and the victim have been released, taking neighbors by surprise.
She was a devoted teacher, a loving mother, and a caring grandmother. To her family and the community, she was a symbol of kindness and resilience. But behind her gentle smile were unseen battles, a strained marriage, and unspoken pain. Then, on a cold November night, the unimaginable happened. Her life was violently taken, not by a stranger, but the very man she loved and trusted most, her husband. This is the heart-wrenching story of Estella Wheeler, a woman whose light was extinguished far too soon by betrayal and tragedy. If you find videos like these interesting or eye-opening, then you can give this video a thumbs up. But before we go any further, it's important to note that the case surrounding Estella Wheeler's tragic death is still ongoing. And because of this, there is limited information available about her husband at this time. Despite my efforts to gather as much detail as possible, the specifics regarding his background, motivations, and the investigation are still scarce. What's being shared in this video represents all that's currently out there, and I'll try to continue to update it as more details emerge. I know this leaves many questions unanswered, but I want to give you the most accurate picture based on the current information. Estella Wheeler was born in the rural town of Kellits in Clarendon, Jamaica, early in the 1960s. She was a woman whose life was defined by education, family, and a deep commitment to her community. Growing up in the heart of Jamaica's agricultural landscape, she was nurtured by a close-knit family who valued education as the key to a better future. Estella attended Clarendon College, where she excelled as a student, garnering the respect of her peers and teachers alike. Her academic achievements were not just a source of pride for her family, but a sign of her determination and ambition to rise above the limitations of her rural upbringing. While researching Estella Wheeler's background, I discovered that she was a teacher in Jamaica before moving to Canada. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find specific details about the schools where she taught. If any of my viewers have information about her teaching career in Jamaica, I'd appreciate it if you could share it in the comment section down below, because your contributions can help provide a fuller picture of her life and legacy. In the early 1990s, Estella made a pivotal decision that would change the course of her life. She, along with her partner, Trevor Wheeler, left Jamaica for Toronto, Canada, seeking new opportunities and a brighter future for themselves and their children. The decision to leave her homeland was not easy, as it meant leaving behind a familiar world and venturing into the unknown. However, Estella's belief in the power of education and her desire to create a better life for her family motivated her to make this life-changing move. Toronto, a multicultural hub, was vastly different from the small rural town in which Estella had grown up. It took time for her to adjust to the bustling city life and the cultural differences that came with it. Despite the challenges, Estella was determined to succeed. She found work as an early childhood educator, using her teaching background from Jamaica to secure a position at a local school. Her natural ability to connect with children and her compassionate approach made her an invaluable member of the community.
They see themselves in school, they see themselves in books, they see themselves excelling, they see themselves black people who have gone high heights.
As Estella settled into her new life in Toronto, she quickly became known for her nurturing nature, not just as a teacher, but as a friend and confidante. Her work was more than just a job to her. It was a way to positively impact the lives of children and help them achieve their full potential. She was highly respected in her profession, with many of her colleagues and the students admiring her dedication and unwavering commitment to her role as an educator. But beneath the surface of her professional success, Estella faced personal struggles that only a few people were privy to. Her relationship with Trevor Wheeler, while long-standing, began to show signs of strain. Over the years, Estella confided in close friends about the growing tension in her marriage, but she was also careful not to reveal too much. Her desire to maintain a sense of normalcy and protect her family's reputation often led her to downplay the seriousness of her situation. Those who knew her well saw a change in Estella, a shift from the vibrant, strong woman they had once known to someone who seemed increasingly burdened by the weight of her private struggles. The nature of Estella's relationship with Trevor has been described by some as troubled, though she rarely spoke about the specifics of their difficulties. Those closest to her noticed that Estella was becoming more withdrawn, her cheerful disposition gradually replaced by a quiet anxiety. Reports from friends and family indicate that there were instances of emotional and verbal conflict in the household. Still, Estella's desire to keep her personal life out of the public eye led her to conceal the severity of the issues she was facing. For a time, Estella worked hard to maintain appearances, juggling her responsibilities as a mother, teacher, and wife, all while trying to keep the family together. But over time, the cracks in her marriage widened. It became evident to those around her that she was struggling, torn between her loyalty to Trevor and her growing realization that their relationship might not be salvageable.
Just a lot of flashing lights coming through our windows. We're just still shocked. I couldn't sleep all night.
We woke up to sirens. There was so many cop cars.
On the 1st of November 2023, Estella's life would come to a tragic and violent end. What was once a home filled with the sounds of laughter and conversation became the site of a violent confrontation. Neighbors in the Yorkville area of Toronto were startled by loud noises coming from the couple's apartment. Voices raised in anger, followed by unsettling silence. Concerned about what they had heard, a neighbor called 911, prompting a swift response from Toronto police. When officers arrived at the scene, they discovered Estella's lifeless body, showing clear signs of blunt force trauma. The violence of her death was apparent, and it was clear that the confrontation between her and Trevor had escalated far beyond words. Trevor Wheeler, who was present at the scene, was immediately arrested. The investigation revealed that an argument had turned physical, and in a moment of unchecked anger, Trevor had attacked Estella, causing her fatal injuries. The events leading up to Estella's death were shrouded in mystery at first. Police spent several days gathering evidence and interviewing witnesses. Trevor Wheeler was charged with second-degree murder after investigators determined that the violence in their home had been the result of a domestic dispute. Although there were no previous reports of physical violence between the couple, close friends and family later revealed that the emotional and verbal conflicts between Estella and Trevor had been ongoing. Estella Wheeler's death sent shockwaves through the Toronto community. As a dedicated teacher, she had made a lasting impact on the lives of countless children, and her colleagues were devastated by the news. Tributes poured in from her fellow educators, students, and the community members, all of whom remembered her as a kind, caring, and hardworking individual who always put others first. Her death has sparked an important conversation about domestic violence, especially in relationships where the signs may not always be visible to outsiders. Estella's family, friends, and the greater community are left to grapple with the heartbreaking reality that a woman who had spent her life caring for others could meet such a violent end at the hands of someone she trusted. Estella's legacy is not defined by the tragedy of her death, but by the incredible impact she had on those who knew her. In recognition of her contributions, community members in Toronto have proposed naming a street, park, or statue in her honor, a lasting tribute to a life dedicated to service, education, and love. Now, as the legal process continues, Estella Wheeler's family and friends are seeking justice for her untimely death. The trial is still pending, and the case remains under close scrutiny as the public and Estella's loved ones await answers. In the meantime, those who knew Estella continue to honor her memory, reflecting on her legacy as a loving mother, grandmother, and educator. Her story is a painful reminder of the hidden struggles that many people face in their personal lives. It underscores the importance of addressing domestic violence in all of its forms and supporting those who may be silently suffering. For Estella Wheeler, her life was tragically cut short, but her memory will live on in the hearts of those who knew her.
I can say emphatically that Mrs. Wheeler played her parts, giving of her time, talent, and even resources, lovingly and with total self-abnegation in the scenes of an educator, mother, advocate, counselor, friend, role model, confidant, and colleague.
If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence or abuse, it's crucial to reach out for help. Jamaica has several helplines for those experiencing domestic abuse. You can contact 1. The Domestic Violence Helpline. This is managed by the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the JCF, for immediate support in cases of domestic violence. You can reach them at 876-926-8999. 2. The Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation. They offer assistance to women and children, including those dealing with domestic abuse. Their contact number is 876-929-9576. Additionally, the National Child Abuse Hotline, 876-922-9291, is also available for anyone in need of urgent help regarding abuse. If you are in Canada, you can contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 or text START to 88788 for confidential support. In Canada, the Women's Shelters Canada offers resources and support at 1-800-363-9010. The Domestic Abuse Helpline for the UK is 1 National Domestic Abuse Helpline 0808 2000 247 for confidential support available 24/7. This helpline is run by Refuge and offers guidance for those experiencing domestic violence. 2. Men's Advice Line. This helpline offers support to men experiencing domestic abuse and can be reached at 0808 801 0327. Remember, you are not alone and help is always available. Please take the necessary steps to protect yourself and those around you. Thank you for watching. Stay safe.